2023 Lexus RZ450e First Drive, one electric SUV, two very different experiences.
I've been sitting on a rock covered concrete coal in the jungle that's been stolen and borrowed.
A zero-emissions powertrain isn't the most interesting aspect of Lexus' new fully electric vehicle. If you know Lexus luxury SUVs, the brand's new all-electric vehicle will seem familiar, or not at all. The company offers two available steering systems in its 2023 Lexus RZ, and which version you choose drastically alters the new electric crossover SUV's driving experience. The RZ without a conventional steering wheel feels almost like a different model, more on this in a bit. Deciding between them isn't as simple as a coin toss, either. The trouble is, there are aspects of the RZ that don't stack up to the latest and greatest EVs. But those electric cars don't offer everything the RZ can. Lexus, like nearly every automaker, is on the path to full electrification, committed to building only battery-powered vehicles by 2035. Hints of those future models are seen in a slate of alluring concepts encompassing crossovers, coupes, and shooting brakes. The 2023 Lexus RZ isn't the Japanese automaker's first all-electric vehicle. The distinction goes to the overseas-only UX300e. But the RZ is Lexus' first dedicated EV, built on the MPGe platform that also underpins the Toyota bZ4X and many others yet to come from the Japanese giant. Sized between the compact Lexus NX and midsize Lexus RX, the RZ is built to take on luxury electric crossovers including the Cadillac Lyriq, Genesis GV60, and Tesla Model E, appearing recognizably Lexusian with a slightly futuristic bent. The new electric RZ forgoes its maker's signature spindle grille. In its place, a closed-off spindle body graphic evinces the absence of an engine while preserving a key stylistic identifier. In profile, a sculpted channel rising from the front wheel arch to the peaked window line adds visual intrigue. Yet the cyclopean taillight and oversized faux air vents leave the rear unresolved compared to other viewpoints. Like the exterior, the cabin integrates brand hallmarks with some unique touches. A 14-inch touchscreen runs the automaker's latest user interface, a vast improvement over its old touchpad-controlled system. Air vents and trim lining the dashboard take a fluid shape as they lead to door panels that look sparsely decorated, until night falls. That's when so-called shadow lighting becomes visible, projecting a lovely ethereal pattern across the upper portion. Flicking between drive and reverse is easy with the dial-type shifter, and a clever storage bin beneath it is enclosed by magnetized upholstery flaps on both sides of the center tunnel. That'll prove useful, since there's no glove box.
Looking for the Chevy Cadillac. Kid, you've got to know that you've got to make that.
The company hardly skimps on features, though. Every 2023 Lexus RZ comes with a heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated front seats, and a wireless charging pad. Upgrades include a head-up display and electrically tinting glass roof. Both trims, premium and luxury, feature many useful driver aids, and a hands-free traffic jam assistant is optional. Radiant panel heating is available for the cabin, said to be less consumptive than the HVAC heat pump. Until additional powertrains potentially arrive, RZ450e specification is the only choice. It carries a 71.4 kWh lithium-ion battery, which sends electrons to a dual-motor all-wheel drive system Lexus calls Direct 4. These motors combine to produce 308 horsepower, which felt ample, almost V8-like, as we drove through petite villages and twisting hillside lanes near Aix-en-Provence, France. Accelerator responses are comfortably subdued, but the RZ450e doesn't wait about. Though the 366 horsepower Lexus RX 500h performance hybrid is stronger, the RZ450e has those direct, linear responses intrinsic to electric powertrains. What look like paddle shifters behind the steering wheel control regenerative braking force, but the steps between the four levels are subtle. Even the highest strength provides little deceleration, nothing close to the convenient one-pedal driving offered by many other electric cars. As such, you must always use the brakes to come to a stop. Lexus could refine its brake blending, as strong force on the pedal brings out an abrupt transition from regenerative to friction braking. Thankfully, in more typical, gentle stopping maneuvers, deceleration is consistent and easy. On the generally well-maintained roads of our drive route, the RZ450e rode in a manner that's typical, and appreciable, for a Lexus. Cushy and quiet, the adaptive suspension rounds off harsh impacts and reduces pavement grit to murmurs. This is true with the RZ's available 20-inch wheels, but the thicker tire sidewalls on its standard 18-inch rollers provide more compliance. In motion, a wisp of wind noise emanates from the side mirrors, but it's forgivable considering their generous size. The latter is quite good, considering the huge blind spots the C-pillars create. An all-electric powertrain isn't what defines the driving experience provided by the 2023 Lexus RZ450e. With its standard steering wheel, the RZ changes direction much like Lexus' most popular SUVs. But with the available steer-by-wire system, the electric crossover luxury SUV takes a radical departure and becomes as engaging as anything to come from the brand in years. Frankly, the conventional wheel is unremarkable, and that's not a bad thing. Based on an ordinary electric power steering setup, it simply does what a steering wheel is supposed to. It asks for, nor returns, involvement beyond the minimum. Effort and feedback through the rim are all but absent. With the regular steering wheel, the RZ feels perfectly normal, the choice for those seeking the status quo of straightforward, comfortable transportation. Everything changes with steer-by-wire. Rather than a wheel, it uses a control apparatus resembling that of an aircraft, which, thanks to Tesla's foray, has become known as a yoke in automotive applications. Just as unusual as what the driver grips with their hands is what happens between it and the front wheels. Rather than a physical connection, motors at either end control motions left and right. Software transforms data from the yoke's movements into reactions from the steering rack, and details from the front end are digitized into feedback at the yoke. Free of traditional electric power steering hardware, steer-by-wire thus can integrate a highly adaptable steering ratio, automatically altering the degree to which the front wheels turn relative to yoke inputs depending on speed and other factors. Here's what matters: steer-by-wire delivers exceptionally direct and accurate steering. Not just for a crossover SUV, but for any type of vehicle. It gives the Lexus RZ agility and responsiveness non-existent with the standard steering wheel model. Small hand movements result in notable directional changes, pointing the RZ around tight corners with alacrity. There's more weight and sensation than with the wheel, though still not a great amount. Unlike Tesla's system, hand-over-hand motions are impossible, as the yoke hits stops not far past the point where its grips go horizontal. How the ratio changes feels fairly invisible, not as if there's some sudden switchover point. Its low-speed quickness seems to help in parking maneuvers, a bug for Tesla, but we'll need to try steer-by-wire in our daily routine to make a conclusion. Steer-by-wire is also the only way to have real driving fun in the 2023 Lexus RZ450e. Its acute reactions are an apt complement to the electric powertrain. But it also makes relaxation harder to find, instead requiring focus and precision. A casual grip leads to twitchy movements. Several times, We inadvertently steered more than intended, jerking the body as we dialed back out. Steer-by-wire is programmed to soften unduly abrupt inputs, but nonchalant drivers might find themselves veering in undesired directions. Furthermore, the yoke offers fewer holding choices than a wheel. This is the option for those who want connection in every drive. Steer-by-wire won't be initially available in the RZ, but when it is, don't get it just because you think the yoke looks cool. It's quite different but not necessarily better. Regardless, you're choosing an EV with electric attributes that aren't particularly competitive. The Lexus RZ450e is EPA rated at 220 miles when equipped with 18-inch wheels, and just 196 miles on 20-inch wheels, considerably limiting its long-distance driving potential. That's compounded by its maximum charge rate of 150 kilowatts, which is decent but far from leading. Lexus thinks the RZ's range driving mode could stretch out a charge beyond the EPA's assessment, completed in the normal mode. Even so, the aforementioned Cadillac, Genesis, and Tesla SUVs can each drive further and charge faster, all for a price near the RZ450e's $60,150 starting point. Lexus mitigates these shortcomings by including perks like a dedicated RZ customer service line and guidance for at-home charger installation, and access to a program called Lexus Reserve. This entitles buyers to 30 days of use with combustion-powered Lexus vehicles per year for the first 3 years. That's enticing, but strikes us as a tacit admission the brand knows its newest electric car might not cut it as a one-vehicle solution. And indeed, Lexus doesn't shy away from saying the RZ will likely be a second vehicle for many of its clients. Regardless, the 2023 Lexus RZ delivers, at a minimum, the comfort, quality, value, and features that brand loyalists expect. Meanwhile, the wild steer-by-wire system adds driving engagement that's rare for the brand. Duality broadens the appeal of Lexus' new EV, even if it won't upend the electric car segment.